Thank you for staying with us here on News Desk. We are coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle, streaming live DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144. Now we start off from the Electoral Commission's headquarters, where NDC supporters have massed up. You may recall that some days after the election, they massed up there requesting that the EC declares the results. They are back again today. My colleague Maxwell Agbagba is there to tell us what exactly is happening and what their demands are. Hello, Maxwell.
Yeah, hello, Bernice.
We understand that this has caused some traffic situation around the Ridge area here in Accra. Tell us about what's happening at the EC's headquarters.
Exactly, Bernice. So we have been in traffic for the past 45 minutes. Heading to the Electoral Commission offices here in Accra. I'm standing just opposite the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. Now, the road which is right in front of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital has been blocked to traffic. And that is because the protesters, the NDC protesters, are protesting just very close to the EC offices. So this portion of the road, this road which directly passes in front of the EC offices, has been blocked to traffic. And you can see we have two police vehicles right here blocking it. There are also some crash barriers also they've used to barricade this portion of the road. So what it means is that for people who want to use that stretch to the Ridge area and its environs, they are unable to use this particular stretch, and that has created some kind of traffic situation. Police officers here will not allow anyone to use this road right in front of the Electoral Commission, and we had to actually get down to do our report here because we're not given access to use the road. But within some minutes, they will get opportunity to get closer to where the protest itself is happening. Now, a stretch that on a normal day will take you just about 5 minutes is now taking a lot of the commuters here about 40 minutes to use, which is creating some kind of inconvenience. Yes, quite a number of people I've spoken to tell me that they've been in traffic for 50 minutes getting to 1 hour because portions of the roads have been blocked, and they are calling on security agencies, police personnel on the ground to do something to alleviate the situation here. We can report, though, that there are quite a number of armed policemen here on the ground. I've also seen personnel from the Motor Transport and Traffic Department also here making sure that they control the situation. But it has not changed the situation, you know, and a lot of commuters, many of them going to their offices, some of them going to the Central Business District, are stuck in traffic. The gentleman you can see right now has his hand on his head. Clearly, you can tell that this is someone who is frustrated, you know, about the situation, about what, is happening here. Just some minutes ago, though, I saw quite a number of NDC supporters walking down the road to where some of their colleagues are protesting, and they tell me that they are going to join them to protest. And when we ask them whether they do not think that the court is the right place, you know, to get their concerns addressed, they said no, they do not think that the court is the right place, and they need to make a statement clear, and that is why they are on the street protesting. So, Bernice, in some minutes, we'll get closer to the Electoral Commission offices itself, where the protest is happening, so we can get you some reaction from some of the protesters there.
Definitely, and that will be quite a walk for you, Maxwell. We hope you can do that speedily so we can hear from the protesters why they are there again after an earlier protest at the EC headquarters. And I just by way of information, we know that this has been happening across the country. Yesterday in Tamale and in Wa, NDC supporters were protesting in Wa. They went to the regional EC office and they sent in a petition. In Tamale, we know that a 3-day ultimatum was given the EC to, as it were, for them change the figures. We've got our eyes on the ground. And quickly, Maxwell will do his walk to the EC headquarters proper. He just showed you what's happening around the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, Holy Spirit Cathedral area, and you just saw the vehicles of the FPU, that's a Formed Police Unit, trying to maintain law and order in that area. Well, while we wait for Maxwell to get there, the University Teachers Association of Ghana is demanding the withdrawal of the controversial Public Universities Bill from Parliament. Parliament on Wednesday announced a suspension of processes leading to its passage. UTAG and some civil society groups said they were yet to be engaged by Parliament since the new bill was relayed in November. Professor Kojo Apieje-Etua is a member of UTAG Legon. He spoke on the AM show earlier today.
The issue of whether the university community understood what happened in Parliament, I think is not correct. We know the difference between approval and then finally the passage of a law. The approval stage is where the government decides that this bill should be passed. And then it goes to consideration stage. At that stage, there is no input that can come from the non-parliamentarian side of things. And so if the approval is done, then definitely the law is going to be passed. But our position was that there was no consultation. There have been different forms of consultation, but in all the cases, our views were not taken on board. So to come back still with about 90% of our concerns not met. Remember, this started last year, I think February 2018 or so. And with each draft, we don't see much change coming in there. Therefore, we had to make sure that we address the issue by even going before sending a petition to the UN Special Rapporteur on right to education and right to freedom of expression. And they also recommended that there should be consultation. And this was when the previous bill had come out. Now, if you look at the time between the previous bill and the current bill that we have, there has not been any consultation as has been proposed by these special rapporteurs, and also as was confirmed by the minister at the Office of the Presidency in charge of tertiary education. So that is the kind of consultation we are talking about. That has not taken place. So even University of Ghana just last week sent a letter to the minister or to Parliament asking, when is this consultation going to take place? And that consultation, we didn't hear anything about it. All of a sudden, there has been approval of the bill in Parliament.
Speaking on the same show, Information Minister Kojo Nkrumah, responding to the claim, said though there have been some disagreements with UTAG on aspects of the bill, it has never been the intention of government to sideline the association. He said government is committed to broadening the conversation leading to a bill that is acceptable for all stakeholders.
There were parts where there were disagreements, but this is what you wanted captured. And they said, no, this is not the import of what we wanted captured. This is rather how we wanted it captured. So there are still some disagreements on it. But here's the point. When the bill was laid and 2 letters surfaced that they want to have an opportunity to weigh in on the final draft, immediately Mr. Speaker instructed, and the minister commented on it, chairman of the committee commented on it, that plenary consideration should be suspended, and then they should go back and engage with UTAG and the academic community to be sure that that which they desire is what has been captured. So if you speak to our friends from UTAG, I think Legon, they will tell you that the chairman of the committee had initially intimated to them that he wanted to meet them yesterday. This was prior to the vice president calling a meeting to say, what is going on here? Have you captured what they wanted captured? But then subsequent to that meeting yesterday, the decision was made to broaden the consultation, not just make it a UTAG Legon matter, but to broaden the engagement so that, okay, so everybody have a copy of it. Tell us whether or not it captures that which you wanted captured.
Okay.
And if you want some further amendments, let us have it. Until then, consideration on the floor, admittedly, where you are not part of it, is suspended. The vice president who chaired the meeting yesterday, His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, gave UTAG his assurances that we are not in a hurry to pass a bill that creates more problems than it solves. And that is why every step of the way, and I think sometimes the commentary diffuses something. We should be clear. Every step of the way, when UTAG or the academic community raises an issue, the minister responsible for education sits with them to have a way to address it. Indeed, this whole conversation about academic freedom started because the minister responsible for education went to consult them and gave them a copy of the draft 0, that this is what we are looking at. Can you look at it and give me your feedback? And before that feedback would be made available, then you saw some members of the academic community go to town that government wants to take away academic freedom. But if that was their intendment, then maybe they will smuggle it and do it. They won't bring it to you.
Okay.
So every step of the way, there has been the intendment to engage. It is only unfortunate that whenever you engage, it is interpreted as trying to do something untoward on the other side. The good thing is that even at this stage, we have made it available. We have not even put timelines, and that's why I wanted to correct the Tuesday thing. We said, look at it, tell us when you can bring us feedback. If it is the case that you are able to look at it and honestly tell the whole Ghanaian public that the issues we brought have been adequately addressed, we can go ahead. Okay. The 7th Parliament will go ahead. If you look at it and you come back and you say, we still have major outstanding issues that cannot be dealt with, we have an 8th Parliament that is coming. It simply means that the process will start again.
Thank you for staying here on News Desk. We'll be going quickly, shortly, to the EC headquarters. But before that, let's head to the courts, because that incident at Ablekuma Central during Election Day is being heard, and it involves the shooting of some people at constituency. My colleague Kweku Asante is in court for us. Hello, Kweku. Has the suspect arrived in court? Tell us what's happening. Hello, Kweku. Kindly unmute your device and tell us if the suspect is in court and what's happening there.
Circuit Court proceedings for this specific incident has not started yet. The Accra Circuit Court, Court 4, is in session already. They are hearing other suits. I tried to find out from the court officials. They said that they've not received the court documents for this specific case yet, but they're expecting that they will receive it or the prosecutors will come with it. But Ben, it's a bit background today. So at the Ablekuma Central constituency, a few days ago, a day after the election, when collation was taking place, there were some disturbances where a lot of supporters of both the NDC and MPP stormed the coalition center. The security tried to bring some order there. It didn't quite work out as it was expected. Actually, it was reported that some shootings from some security personnel happened on the day. We cannot independently confirm that. But so more military and more police reinforcement came in to try and clear up the space so that the Electoral Commission will be able to do their job. And it is upon this specific this period that this guy named Kola, who is being held by the police as suspect, came in there and fired shots indiscriminately and had 5 men down. Not all 5 died. Yesterday, Abbas, one of the persons who was shot, actually lost his life, was confirmed dead after being in intensive care for a while. And so the proceedings for this specific case has not started yet here at the Accra Circuit Court, but it is expected to commence shortly. We are expecting that the police will bring in the suspect identified as Kola. His full name we are yet to know as of now, but we are expecting that he will be brought in and the charges that the police and the investigations will be leveled against him will be preferred, and then the proceedings will continue. But for now, at the Accra Circuit Court, he is not here. But we've seen one person who was actually a victim of the shooting incident has been brought into the court. He's actually sitting in the court premises right now. I tried to have a word with him. I couldn't. His lawyers prevented me from doing so. And so we're expecting that the police in no time will bring this suspect named Kola, to come and face whatever charges the police is preferring against him. Dennis.
We will leave it here for now. Thank you, Kweku Asante, joining us from the court where the suspect in that Ablekuma Central shooting is expected today. Let's go back to the EC's headquarters, because some NDC supporters have massed up at the place, again protesting what they call a flawed election. My colleague Maxwell Agbaba is on the ground. So Maxwell.
So we are now right in front of the Electoral Commission offices, the road right in front of the Electoral Commission office. What you can see now are security personnel who are right here in the middle of the road. They've blocked this entire stretch. What we understand is that they've pushed down all the protesters who were on this street down the road. And that was because some of them were burning ties, some of them were destroying some of the Christmas tree decorations here at this runabout. We are told that some of them were also pelting stones at security personnel who were here on the ground. Just some minutes ago, though, we saw a gentleman with a bloodied face. He had blood dripping from his forehead into his shirt. We do not know where that is coming from. We're told that he was trying to get fuel from a filling station here, a fuel station here. And that fuel, we are told, was going to be used to burn some ties and burn some other things here. That's information we're getting from the police. But we have the Director of Operations here, Kwesi Fori here. We want to find out from him what they are doing to protect the Electoral Commission and also ensure that there's some kind of sanity here. So you're welcome to join us.
Thank you very much.
Tell us what is happening right now. We are told that the protesters have been pushed down the streets.
Thank you very much. The police posture is to maintain general peace and security. But this morning, a section of the youth from Nima came in with lorry ties, petrol, and started burning the ties, the lorry ties on a highway. And it was bad. And the police moved in with the water cannon to quench the fire. Again, we saw some buying petrol from the nearby Shell filling station with that same motive. And the police has to do some arrest, to make sure that we are able to be on top of affairs. Our appeal to the youth is that the police is not confrontational, but they should not dare the security services by trying to use petrol and other dangerous, liquid, by setting fire on the road and doing things that may jeopardize general security. So we are in here to maintain law and order, and that the commanders here from the FPU, Regional Operations, National Operations, we've all agreed to make sure that we maintain the peace in this area. Therefore, not only the EC, but the entire environment, including the Rich Hospital, the Braka Polyclinic, the gas station, and facilities around the ASU Tower.
Some minutes ago, the situation nearly escalated, and the police had to de-escalate the situation. What mechanisms, what strategies have you put in place to make sure you quell any attempt to destroy any property here or even get close to the Electoral Commission?
We've done strategic deployment. We make sure that we are following public order rules in line with democratic governance, and everything is on course. And we will do whatever it takes to protect the facilities here, the health facility, the Electoral Commission, the SU Tower, and the gas station. And we will not permit anybody to buy petrol and set place ablaze. So that is why you see the police, moving tactically and strategically to make sure that we keep the place. And so far, so good.
How did you manage to push them down the street?
One, we initially we used engagement that failed, and we have to resort to the use of non-lethal equipment like water and other properties.
But finally, before you go, some commuters are concerned that there's heavy traffic, they're unable to get to their various workplaces. How long do you think this operation is going to take, and how soon are you going to open this road to traffic?
That is why you see in the motor traffic unit, they are rerouting, commuters and vehicles, onto other parts of the city. And as far as the operation is concerned, we will continue also to offer assistance to commuters and people who are walking by.
Okay. Thank you very much for talking to us. So you just heard there the Director of Operations for the Accra region for the Ghana Police Service. They're speaking to us, giving us all that has happened within some minutes. As you can see, they're rearranging the crash barriers here. On a normal day, this stretch is very busy with a lot of vehicles, some going to the Central Business District, some going to Ridge and its environs. But that is not the case today. All these crash barriers are here to prevent any further destruction caused by some of the supporters who gathered here just some minutes ago. I'd want us to try and get closer to where the supporters are. We've been advised that is risky, you know, but we'll try and get there. But these are some of the placards that some of them were holding. Some of them left them here at this runabout. You can, some of them, Jean Mensah, don't dare burn Ghana. First time in Ghana to have errors in declared election results. Why EC? No reconciliation, no precedent. There's another one here. Our democracy is under attack. And you can see that one also very close to the statue there. It says Jean Mensah must resign now. Let's take you down the road. Let's try and get a sense of the destruction that happened here some minutes ago. So we are told that this thing here was brought down by the aggrieved supporters. So you can still see the remnants of the ties that were burnt here by the aggrieved supporters. And we still have some of the ties down there, the stretch. Okay, so what you can see right now, some of the NDC supporters in your shot, my camera technician would give you an idea. Okay, so these are some of the supporters who had to seek refuge elsewhere after they were dispersed. By the police. Let's see if they are not hostile. We'll talk to them. If they are hostile, we'll not be able to talk to them. Come, let's talk to you. Come. Why are you protesting here this morning?
We are protesting because the EC stole the election. The EC stole the election. The election 2020, it is not Nana Akufo-Addo who won. It is the NDC, John Dramani Mahama. He is the
commissioner, is the only one supposed to declare the results.
Yes.
She says that it was Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo who won.
It is a family and friend. It is a family. It's a Rebecca's sister. So Rebecca's sister cannot make sure that Nana Akufo-Addo will lose because it is her sister. That is why she made her one.
Don't you think the right forum to have your grievances heard is the courts?
No,
it's better than being on the street, being chased away by the police. Some of you have been injured in the process.
I'm not saying this for you. I pink sheet. UN, United Nations, everyone, all the foreign bodies coming because the people of Ghana need change. People of Ghana voted for change, and EC has changed everything. EC, J. Mensah has connived with the MPP government and all the medias. Yes.
You don't have any evidence.
We have evidence. We have more evidence. That is why we have evidence.
Evidence.
And these people have evidence.
Where's your evidence?
Yeah, evidence,
Where's the evidence?
Okay,
thank you. That is fine. Thank you. I've given the opportunity to talk. Okay. Okay, so that's what is happening here. Right in front of the EC offices. This is just quite a number of people. There are many. Scores of them have rushed, have gone down the street. We've been advised by security personnel here that it's dangerous for us to go down there. Now, let's speak to this lady. I think she got injured in the process. Let's speak to her. What happened to her? Okay, I think she's not ready to talk to us, but we understand that she got injured in the process. Scores of them still down the streets. We've been advised by security personnel that it's not friendly down there, so we shouldn't go down there. But we are told that they've been pushed down there to ensure some sanity here on this stretch. So, Bernice, when you come here, this is what is happening at the EC offices. The road right in front of the EC office, Bernice.
Maxwell, we'll leave you to gather as much information as you can on the situation there, and do stay safe. Maxwell Agbagbade joining us from the road right in front of the EC's headquarters, and you heard there from some of the protesters. We understand the police has been able to bring some order after some of the protesters started burning tires, and so, well, that's what's happening now. We'll keep our eyes on the ground. Now, Member of Parliament for Fomena, Andrew Amaku-Esiama, or the MP-elect for Fomena, Andrew Amaku-Esiama, says he'll join the New Patriotic Party's side of the House in the next Parliament, following the advice from chiefs and people of Fomena. Mr. Amaku-Esiama says, though the decision to expel him from the current Parliament was unfair, he still stands by the NPP as a party.
Because I took these steps not for my humble self, I took it in a way for the good of the party. At least you have to make sure things are done openly, transparently, so that if somebody is within the party and things do not even work out the way he's expecting, he will take it in good faith. I believe, and what I've heard, I think the party going forward will learn from it. So I think it's nothing happens by chance. Probably it's good that it happened that way. No demands as I speak with you. What is important is that it is my family, and I'm going back to that family. Whatever is needful, the family will see to it. I hope so. But for now, there's no demands.
There are reports that you must reapply if you want to go and join the NPP. Are you going to reapply?
Well, I don't know. I have not heard that report. But if it calls for that, why? We will cross it once we get there. But for now, I'm not talking about the application to rejoin the party. I'm talking about Parliament. I'm going to be part of the MPP caucus.
And what would that have to give? Based on what would you then join the NPP? Are you going to expect them to do anything else while you're going forward in terms of maybe protecting you going into the next primary? There have been a lot of reports that you made some demands of the party, a tall list of items. Are you really making this?
I've already responded to that. I've never made any request. Two, I'm not going to make any specific demands. Probably what might have brought the party quite down was some of these decisions, that protecting this, doing this. So if something like that was done to me and I wasn't happy, why should I also decide to request or make such demand? I've never done that. What I am looking for is to make sure that everything the party does is open, transparent, for everybody to see that this is the way we are going. That is what I'm looking for.
Let's stay a while on the elections. 6 presidential candidates in the 2020 elections are calling on the presidential candidate for the National Democratic Congress, John Mahama, to either accept the results of the polls or go to court to settle all outstanding issues he has with the Electoral Commission. At a news conference on Wednesday, Hassa Yariga of the All People's Congress, David Apasera of the People's National Convention, Ivor Greenstreet of the Convention People's Party, Henry Herbert Latte of the Great Consolidated Popular Party, Kofi Akpalu of the Liberal Party of Ghana, and independent candidate Kwame Asiedu Walker called for peace. There's more in the following report.
Some members of the National Democratic Congress have been protesting the 2020 election results, describing EC's result declaration as flawed. This comes after NDC flag bearer John Mahama indicated that he will not accept the results. 6 presidential candidates of the 2020 polls, Hassan Ayariga of the APC, David Apasera of the PNC, Ivor Greenstreet of the CPP, Henry Herbert Latte of the GCPP, Kofi Akpalu of the LPG, and Jacob Oseyeboa, who was running mate of independent candidate Alfred Walker, entreated the NDC to seek legal redress rather than resorting to protests.
It was appropriate that as leaders we should come together and add our voice to the request for peace in Ghana, to a request for the reduction in tensions in our country.
And we want Ghana to be free and fair, but peaceful. So we are making a call to all political party leaders, all past presidential candidates, that all the rank and file and supporters of our parties, and all Ghanaians, that we should exercise restraint, exercise caution, and know that it is upon all of us, it behoves on every Ghanaian to work for peace, and that we need peace in Ghana.
We have political independence. What we need is economic independence, and let's do that to make Ghana great and strong.
We are also calling on the presidential candidate and former President John Mahama. For the fact that he has not accepted this is also democratic, but we implore on him and his followers to take democratic processes. Yes, protest is a form of democratic process, but it's indeterminate in the sense that you may not know what may happen during demonstration. Courts, however, is the final place of arbiter where collated figures can actually be changed if there are facts to support that.
I will ask if anybody has an issue with the election, the best place is to go to court and seek redress, because that's the only solution that we have, go based on the CI that we have. But going on the street, destroying properties will not solve the problem. The best thing to do is to go to court. And when you go to court, we all learn from it.
I hear people say, no justice, no peace. But I want you to know, no peace, no justice. It is the other way around. So, we should all be encouraging a peaceful country, a peaceful atmosphere. Let's all disagree with the verdict of EC, and let's accept it. It will take us far, and we will have a very peaceful country.
Hassan Ayariga also called for investigations into the alleged abuse of civilians by military personnel during the elections.
I also have a appeal that I saw something that I am not happy about. The military brutality and the police brutality in the election 2020. The police and the military are supposed to maintain, protect lives and properties. But in one of the constituencies, I think that was in Techuma, the action by the military and the police is something we cannot write good about. And if these people are really policemen and military men, then they should be subjected to investigation and proper conduct. Because I know military men, one thing I know about military men is that discipline is their key. And no military man will put a weapon before their own citizens and be shooting. And no policeman will equally do that. So I will call on government to investigate this particular matter so that it will be a good thing for all of us.
The presidential candidates also urged Ghanaians to be peaceful. Nicholas Yamua's report for Joy News.
If you just joined the program, this is News Desk. Earlier, we took you to the EC's headquarters, where some NDC supporters are protesting what they call a flawed election. We showed you remnants of some burnt tires there and how the police had cordoned off the road, which has caused a lot of traffic in the area. Apologies to those of you watching us on Facebook. We had to cut the feed to fix some sound problems, but we are back now. Let's move on to some other stories. Government has promised to rebuild the Kantamata market following Tuesday fire, which destroyed some businesses and shops. Vice President Dr. Mahmood Bawumia said at least 2,592 individuals have directly been affected, a situation he says requires urgent attention. Addressing the media after assessing the level of devastation, the Vice President also announced his administration, or this administration, will immediately compensate those who suffered the tragedy. There's more in this report.
The team is here to see firsthand the level of devastation. Many businesses we know have been brought to a halt. Some have been devastated completely. And so, as acting president, he is here to get a proper appreciation of the impact of the outbreak and say a few words. You just observed the level of devastation the fire has caused to businesses here at Kantamanto. Would you tell us what you make of this level of devastation to start with?
I have seen the damage, and so many shops, so many stores have been razed to the ground. As you can see, what we have is a human tragedy. You have about 2,592 people who have been directly affected by this. There's going to be an investigation as to what has happened and why it has happened, and that investigation will proceed as is. But nonetheless, the lives and the livelihoods of the people cannot really await an investigation. Those are more immediate, and so we are going to be looking at how to provide assistance. NADMO, for example, is here, and the Deputy Director Generals are here, and we're going to be looking at how to assist. I'm calling a meeting on Friday at my office with the leadership and to look at how we rebuild this market. And also how we can provide some amount of support on a humanitarian basis initially, and also some type of, we'll look at how to provide some type of business support to provide capital to these shop owners to be able to restart their businesses. It's a tragedy for the people, but it's a tragedy for the country. And we have to look at what the recommendations are and how we, in the process of rebuilding, how we can do it in such a way that that type of devastation doesn't happen. As you know, most of these structures were wooden structures. And so when it started, it really consumed the structures very quickly because they were just fuel for the fire.
So Mr. Ba is the board chair of MASLOC, and he's also been observing and assessing the level of devastation here at Kantamanto.
The development of every economy thrives on the back of the private sector. So if the private sector has a challenge today, there is a big problem. These are the future leaders who are going to be the industrialists and make sure that they develop Ghana, create the needed employment. If this has happened, down the line, the next 10, 20 years, we're going to have a challenge. So I think whatever we can do to assist to support, we'll talk to the appropriate quarters and see what we can do.
How soon would your intervention be? Looking at the time, you just mentioned that we are getting ready for Christmas. How soon would you come in with your intervention if you are coming in with any at all?
The first thing is to do the assessment and to know those who are involved so that we don't make a mistake. So it depends on the cooperation of us and the leadership of those who have been affected. So it's a process we need to go through, but we have to make sure that at the end of it, people will be supported.
MASLOC, do you have a data on the number of businesses here at Kantamanto, so that at least that will also inform you as to how many people and businesses you are looking at to support, if you like, going forward?
We don't have data at the moment. That is why we have to deal with the municipal assembly, the leadership of the various groupings within the area, because I know they have the second group association, they have all the various associations. So we have to do thorough discussions and know exactly what has happened. Then we can formulate some policy and see how best we can help them.
The final funeral rites of the late former President Jerry John Rawlings have been postponed indefinitely. The funeral arrangements had initially been scheduled for December 20, 2020, but concerns raised by the Awadada of the Anglon State, Agbotui and allied families has caused President Akufo-Addo to allow them settle all outstanding issues regarding the customary rites and select a suitable date for the state to join in facilitating the funeral of the late statesman. A communique by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration to the international community and diplomatic missions reviewed a change in the schedule. Due to unforeseen circumstances, quote, the funeral will not be held from 20th December 2020 as planned, the statement read. It further indicated that the new date for the funeral will be communicated in due course. Former President Rawlings died on Thursday, November 12, at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra after a short illness. You're watching News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedulansa. Coming up shortly in business, the agri sector records positive growth in third quarter despite general economic decline. Darryl Kwal is standing by with details. Do stay.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwal. The agri sector has recorded a positive growth for the second consecutive time, despite a decline in economic growth generally. Now, the sector for the third quarter as a main driver for growth sustained the Ghanaian economy with a rate of 8.3%, even though its contribution to gross domestic product is smaller. There's more in this report.
With the exception of agriculture, all the two other sectors of the economy recorded a decline in growth. The agriculture sector grew by 2.0% for the period as a result of some improvement in the growth rate of fishing, livestock, and the crop subsector. In industry, mining was the hardest hit, with a growth rate declining by negative 4.5%. The services sector also recorded a negative growth rate, despite a significant growth from the information and communication technology subsectors. Here is Professor Samuel Kobna-Enim.
Year-on-year change rate for crops was 9.0%. Livestock also saw a positive year-on-year change rate of 5.8%, but its share overall was negligible, specifically 8.4% as compared to the 78.1% for crop sector. The other sector that saw an increase was the fishing subsector, 20.4% on a year-on-year basis. Again, its share of the total GDP is negligible compared to the overall 78.1% that we see for crops. So fishing gives us a share of only 8.4% with a nominal GDP value of 1,658.5 million Ghana cedis. Within the industry sector, from a quarterly point of view, as indicated, mining and quarrying subsector saw a year-on-year change of 16.9% with a higher share of 40.4%. And this is followed by the electricity subsector, which has a year-on-year change rate of 11.6%, but a relatively small share of 4.3%.
The government statistician, however, cautioned it is too early to project that the year will record a negative growth rate, since this is just the rate for the third quarter.
It is too early because one is not too sure the interventions that are being instituted, what we've received for the month of October and November, and how that is going to impact on the earlier three quarters that we have data on. But broadly, we would say that that would constitute only a quarter of the 4 quarters that one would want to analyze for the whole year.
Meanwhile, this growth rate is an improvement over the second quarter when the COVID-19 affected most economic activities in the country.
The Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana is cautioning cocoa farmers against the use of fertilizer sacks and polythene sheets in fermenting cocoa beans. The practice is said to have adverse effects on the quality of beans, which then affects the purchase and market demand. This was revealed when the institute handed over a cocoa fermentation center as part of a fine flavor cocoa project at Offenso in the Ashanti region. Prince Apia has more.
Ntiano 7 days and 6 days na ya 2 diaba.
Owusu, a cocoa farmer in the Offenso area, has been used to unorthodox ways of drying his cocoa beans.
But mama ye hu say what ten na e mani nyina timi ferment kama e ma flavor na wo pe no so wotimi nya.
Officials say these materials, together with placenta, the use of polythene sheets, result in either under or over fermentation. Poor drying of the beans results in the development of acidic beans, which affects off flavors in the beans. Dr. Isaac Yaopuku is Executive Director of Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana.
When it comes to the quality of cocoa, no country comes near Ghana. And the quality depends on, as I said, on the variety and the fermentation. Here, what we have realized that some farmers are using mosquito nets, which is contaminated with chemicals. Some are using plastic bags, which is also unacceptable. And some are also using other unapproved materials to ferment their cocoa. Some are even using fertilizer bags, which are also contaminated with chemicals. So what cocoa research has prescribed is the use of banana or plantain, leaves. That is what we use in fermenting our cocoa. Anything other than that would compromise the quality of our cocoa.
So if you have it in this first chamber, after 48 hours, you come and you realize that the top down to 4 inches is well fermented, but below is poorly fermented. So now you transfer it into this one. And in the process, the top fermented beans go to the bottom here, and bottom unfermented beans comes up. So the whole idea is to make the fermentation process easy, and at the end of it all, get all the beans properly fermented.
This is an improved way of effectively drying and fermenting the cocoa beans, as he explains, introduced to the farmers. The institute has handed over a cocoa fermentation center as part of its fine flavor cocoa project in Offenso district. It is the first ever farmer-owned fermentation center to help address the problem of under-fermentation of the cocoa beans.
That's your business update. Sports is up next. Stay tuned.
Thank you for staying on News Desk. It's now time for sports, and Oreko Ampafo is here today, not your regular George. But hey, they're all from the sports desk, so we know that the info is as good as it is.
Yeah.
All right, let's start off from Ghana. Hats of Oak. Unfortunately, we couldn't have our celebration for long. I'm talking about that game against Dreams FC, because that was a good one.
Indeed.
By 3 goals. Yeah. We met Adriana Stars yesterday. I say we because George has imposed Hearts of Oak on me, so I've accepted to be a Heart supporter. So we met Adriana Stars yesterday, and we couldn't live up to expectation.
Yeah, but if you look at history, it hasn't really been a match that Hearts of Oak always go in to win. The last time that they beat Adriana Stars was 5 years ago. And even when you go to the history books and look at Doma, it's been over 8 years since Hearts of Oak won there. So it's always been a difficult ground for Hearts of Oak. But there was a sense of new energy. As you said, Papic had come in and he had done the job against Dreams FC. So the camp was good. Moods were really high, heading into this game. And unfortunately, it wasn't even just about the result, losing 2-0, but it was more about what happened during the game and how Heart of Oak just looked as if they did not care. Both of the goals could have easily been avoided, and it looks as if it's an attitude problem. Even in the last minute, they missed the penalty and then missed the rebound after that. So it's not good signs for Heart of Oak. Usually, the honeymoon period of a manager lasts a bit longer, but this time was just one game, and now they have 5 points from just 5 games.
Thank you very much, Ariel Kwampo. That's how we end this edition of News Desk. It's a pleasure having you here. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. From my entire team and myself, we wish you the very best of the rest of the day. I'll be back at 12 with News Today. But up next is JoyNews Interactive with Mapitso Sibidi.